Hi, it's Ann, and welcome back to my 30 Days of Taiko Skills. Today is day 24, and I'm talking about odd time, or odd meters. So anything outside of 2 and 4 is what we're talking about. The most common probably being in 3, and then would be 5, 7, and so on. So if you're not used to playing in odd meters, you might feel a little bit unsettled when you're asked to suddenly try to play in a different meter. But to me, it's just like anything else. Just like when we started learning and playing in 4, initially we probably had to count to make sure we knew where we always were in 4 even. And now we might be more comfortable playing in 4. It's second nature. Perhaps we don't even have to count the numbers. We just feel the phrases. And this can happen in the same way with 3 and 5 and 7 and so on. We just have to practice them and get used to counting and maybe even play the pieces in odd meter or write exercises in odd meters, study out of books, and so on. For me, one of the earliest eye-opening artists that I came across and I studied and was very inspirational for odd meter study was Don Ellis. And you can pick up any recording of his, and most of the album, if not all of the album, is in odd time signature pieces. And there was this old, I'm not sure if it was a joke or a story, but someone once told me that the only piece that Don Ellis could play in 4 was Take 5. So gives you an idea of how much he liked to play, write pieces in 5. And I did a lot of playing along to those Don Ellis tunes and kind of get used to feeling phrases and counting a different number of beats per measure. So I think the first step to back up, in order to get comfortable to count in odd meters, first we have to have this ability to count in a non-odd meter. So I'm just going to take 4, probably the most common meter in Western music. If you went somewhere else, like Turkey, for example, perhaps other meters like in 7 or 9 would be more common than 4. But in our Western musical culture, probably 4 is the most common. So let's start with that, see if we're able to count the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4 while we play a variety of rhythms. So I'll start with something simple. Maybe start with quarter notes, eighth notes, 16th notes, a few of those kinds of variations. And then maybe I'll go off and try to improvise a little bit over that counting. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, that's the idea. If we can't do that in 4, then what we're going to do next might be a little bit too difficult to do. So make sure you can do that. It's going to be if you're not used to doing this, it's going to take some time to get coordination of vocalizing the numbers only and trying to play other things. So start simple. Doesn't have to be anything complex, but make sure we can vocalize those numbers. Next, we're going to go to 3, 4. Same exact exercise, but instead of counting 1, 2, 3, 4, I will count only 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Almost said 4, but I got back on and I was able to get back to 3. Something like this, you can probably figure out if you skipped a number or added a number, but another way to make sure that you're on is to use a metronome that has a different beep sound on the downbeat. So I have my metronome here. I have it set to 3/4 at 76 BPM. So I'll do the same exercise with the metronome. Make sure that I'll always be listening to the beep 1, 2, 3 to make sure my downbeats always line up to that proper one. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1. Okay, get the idea. Obviously, getting to where you can just freely improvise like I was doing at the end, that might take a little bit of time to get there. The way is to always progress up there from the simplest thing. If all you can do is quarter notes only, that's fine. Just do that until you're comfortable. Then try eighth notes. If you can do that, try 16th notes only. Only progress to the next step when you can do it. Otherwise, you won't really have a solid foundation on this concept of counting. So next, let's try the same exercise in 5. I will change it to 5, and I'll just count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and see if I can do the same thing. Same tempo. 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so I'm used to playing in 5 quite a bit, so the counting is not too difficult for me. Halfway through, I drop the counting. I'm still counting in my head. I'm still confirming that my head 1 is still the same as the high-pitched beep on the downbeat on the metronome. As soon as that gets off, if my concept of where the 1 is off from the metronome, then I will dial it back, go simpler for a while until I get back into the groove, and then continue on. So the next step after this would be maybe I would pull out my Time Guru app and use random mute, which makes it quite a bit more difficult because sometimes you don't hear the downbeat high-pitched beep. And in that case, you might not get that confirmation every time that you're on where the downbeat is. So it really focuses, you're forced to focus in on the counting, and yeah, it's much more challenging when you do it like that. So that's something to try down the line if this is still something that you're working on. Okay, so same thing with 7. Most metronomes nowadays can go up to 7 and 9 and farther. So you can practice those meters, and then again, you can search out, like I did with Don Ellis. You could search out recordings that have odd meter and just play along with it. See if you can copy some of the rhythms on there. You can also write down some rhythms, or you can compose a piece that's an odd meter and just get used to doing it. There's nothing mysterious or overly challenging about this. It's just the fact that we usually don't get an opportunity to play pieces in odd meter or perform these odd meter pieces or patterns within that. So just something that we have to get used to, just like anything else. Okay, that's a little bit about odd time playing, and I'll see you on the next one.